I think the real key issue for me is how do you break this vicious circle of having a select group of, particularly for high value disputes, a select group of preferred arbitrators who are almost all men. How do we break that vicious cycle and ensure that group of people include women in the future? And that's, I think, the key challenge for all stakeholders in the arbitration world. Visibility, experience, I think there's a role for mentorship. I would hope that those what are often described as usual suspects in the arbitration world have a role to play in terms of endorsing, mentoring, encouraging women arbitrators so that within not too long a time, I would hope you would see a good representation of women in those in that privileged group, I would say, of well-known and respected arbitrators. I think it lies across the board in relation to all stakeholders. So I would say parties and corporates, such as the one that I work for, have a duty to always consider the possibility of women, in particular, to ensure that there are women on short lists of potential candidates. I think that external counsel and the law firms absolutely have that same duty to consider recommending women candidates as often as possible to their clients. I think the institutions have a role to play, and I think existing arbitrators, particularly those who've been around a long time, all have a role to play. So I think it's raising the consciousness across the board of all stakeholders so that there's a real concerted effort to move the dial on this sooner rather than later. The people who've been around for a long time, who've had all of the spotlight, the group of men, I think, that have had that for a long time, it's about time they said, I'll mentor a up-and-coming female arbitrator, or endorse them. Or I suppose the other thing is, of course, making sure that panels at events such as today are gender balanced as well.